Hello and welcome to today's Facebook LinkedIn Live. Thank you so much to everybody that is watching today. Please do let us know if you can hear us all okay. Give us a like or an emoji. That would be fab. But today I'm delighted because I'm going to be chatting with Katie Anderson, and we're hopefully waiting for another guest as well from Saint-Gobain, and we're going to be talking all about how you can thrive in the workplace at Saint-Gobain. And obviously, if you've got any questions for Saint-Gobain, for Katie, then please pop them in the comments. We're talking particularly about how you can thrive, particularly as a woman in a male-dominated department, because Katie manages a team of 25 men. So thank you so much, Katie, for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure to chat with you and learn more about you and your experiences. Before we start, maybe if someone's watching this and they've not heard about Saint-Gobain, they don't know who Saint-Gobain is, could you give people a bit of an overview as to who they are and what you do working for them?
Yeah, of course, no problem. So Saint-Gobain manufacture construction products, and the area of Saint-Gobain that I work for is called British Gypsum, and in particular the factory I'm based at, which is in East Leek near Loughborough, we make plasterboard products and bagged plaster products. So yeah, that's a brief overview of the company.
Wow. Yeah, they're a big one, and I know ever since I started working with you, I have noticed, going along the manholes when you walk
Oh,
on the
yeah.
pavement, they've often got the Saint-Gobain name on, and you do see, a lot of, we had an extension done recently, and the amount of business we gave to Saint-Gobain, because all the bags, everything
Yeah.
has Saint-Gobain written on the bags. So obviously you're a huge organisation and you support the construction. Was it a worldwide organization, or you just
so it's worldwide. Headquarters are based in Paris, but yeah, worldwide. And there's a lot of products that people might not necessarily realize that we make. So we make glass as well, and like insulation, in addition to your standard like plasterboard and construction products. So there's a lot going on.
Brilliant. So in terms of how many people are there employed in the organization?
That is a good question. I'm not sure, sorry for the total number. But I know at my plant there's about 300 people working there, which is it's the biggest of the British gypsum plants in the UK, but there's 4 other sites as well, and we have mines, and then there's a big glass plant in the UK. So it's very big, yeah.
And what do you do in your role in the factory?
So in my role, I manage the bag plaster department. So we manufacture 175,000 tons of bagged plaster products per year in the factory. So there's 3 shifts, and there's also there's an engineering team and a performance team as well that work in my part of the factory. In the factory, there's also 2 plasterboard lines as well, and an added value department as well.
Okay. And what do you do then? What's your role in that?
So day to day, it's ensuring that customer orders are fulfilled for the different types of products. So back in East Leek, we make 5 different types of products of bag plaster, making sure that we make the correct quantities to a high standard of quality and in a safe way as well, making sure we've got enough staff to run the lines at any one point. So that can be a bit of juggling with shift swaps or holidays, or if people are off sick. And then we also each week have a shutdown day, which is for 8 hours. So making sure that we've got the engineers to carry out all the preventative maintenance work and inspection work, and we've got a plan for that. We also do a lot of trials, for new product introduction, just ensuring that we're always keeping on top of our game in terms of high standards for the bag plaster. So if we want to have a new additives, or just ensuring that the quality stays as to the high standard that we would want as well. And then you get your normal day-to-day niggles and issues. So it's a big manufacturing plant, so you do get breakdowns which you have to work through and problem solve. So every day's quite different, so you never sort of know sometimes what you're going to walk into.
Yeah.
But I quite like that. So
Matthias has said, good afternoon, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. And Georgina has said, Saint-Gobain have more than 170,000 colleagues in over 70 countries. Wow. So it's obviously lots of different, I mean, I guess there's obviously in you explain what your role involves, but is, you know, what type of positions are there in Saint-Gobain? What type of roles can people do?
So there's lots of different departments. Obviously, I work in operations, but there's also like technical, marketing, supply chain, finance, IT. There's lots of different departments, and then within each department, there's like different roles as well. Obviously, depending on what you're interested in, like different levels. So in the technical department, there's like you could work on plasterboard or like bagged plaster research or glass insulation. And then in operations, there's the different types of factories, because we produce so many different types of products. And even like within the factories, you've got like the operator role through to the more technical roles like process engineer or automation and control engineer. And then higher up like managerial type jobs if you like managing people. It's not for everyone, but some people enjoy that.
You obviously
And then
enjoy it.
yeah, I enjoy that, like for sure. And
Yeah.
then on the marketing side, you've got, you know, like if you're doing campaigns for new products or like relaunch of certain products, and supply chain as well. So dealing with different suppliers and purchasing agreements, etc. So there's a wide variety of roles for sure.
Wow. Yeah. And was this something you wanted to, you know, what was it that I guess drew you initially to this career? What did you study something that led into this at university? Is this an area?
Yeah, so ever since I've been like a teenager, I've really been interested in like science and maths. So studied that like for my A levels, and then I did a PhD in chemistry. So I was at university for about 8 years, loved chemistry, but my PhD was based on like quite a small scale. And I think I was just a bit fed up of that after 4 years. So I went to manufacturing scale, which is like the complete opposite. You're going into tonnages. But I've worked in pharma to start with, and then security products. And then obviously recently, since I've been working with Saint-Gobain, like the last 5 years has been plasterboard products and bagged plaster products. So I think for me, I just like the scale. The engineering side is fascinating, like it's really interesting. And then the last year I've just started to manage more people as well, which again is like a whole new skill set that you have to learn and develop.
Yeah. And what first drew you then to Saint-Gobain? Because, you know, your skills, I can imagine, were in such demand, and, you know, you probably could have had a pick of, you know, of employers. So what was it that, you know, attracted you to Saint-Gobain?
Yeah, so I think to start with, it was just the area of material
Mhm.
science, I guess, essentially, and working with like the construction products, because I hadn't worked with them before, and it just fascinated me. It's like a whole new area to learn about and to research. And when I first started, I started in the technical department for the first sort of 9 to 12 months, and got a really good understanding from like a scientific perspective about the products, and then moved into the manufacturing of them, like in the actual factory. So I've always been fascinated to learn about new things and how things are made. So that was what drew me to the company to start with. Yeah.
And obviously they I mean, they've got such an incredible reputation. They're probably, you know, the best in their industry. You know, so I can definitely understand, you know, why you wanted to work for them.
Yeah, they've got a really big, like, obviously footprint in the UK as well. There's 5 big factories. And when I first started, I got to visit each of them. And that was fascinating, just to see all the different plasterboard lines and how they manufacture the bagged plaster products. So yeah, it was good.
Brilliant. Oh, do you know what? I can see Mwansa has joined as well, so I'll just add her to the stream. Hello, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us today. It's such a pleasure to chat with you and obviously learn more about your experience as well working for Saint-Gobain.
Thank you very much. Hi, Katia. How are you? Hi, Elizabeth.
I'm good, thanks. Hi.
I'm good. I'm good.
So Katie's given us a really good overview about Saint-Gobain, who they are, and the types of different roles they have. Do you want to give people a bit of an overview as to what you do for Saint-Gobain?
Okay, so I'm currently working as a process engineer for Saint-Gobain, and I love it. So I'm actually working on the board plant away from the bag plaster. And a little bit of some insight on what I do would be kind of managing the whole process from where we get the raw minerals and how we're having the final product of the plasterboard. And yeah, like Kate said, there's always something new happening, so it makes
Yeah,
it fun and exciting to work, yeah, in that role.
brilliant. And what was your experience before joining Saint-Gobain? What were you doing something similar before, or?
No, I was actually working on something totally different. I was working in the mining industry and I
Oh,
was
right.
working as a metallurgist, yes. So I was working
Wow.
as a metallurgist in a mining sector where we were leaching copper. So joining Saint-Gobain is a different experience and
Yeah.
different product. Yeah, but it's interesting and it's all chemistry. Yeah.
Yes. So what, I suppose, if somebody's like you that's joining, maybe joined that has maybe done something slightly different, what has been the training and development been like then joining Saint-Gobain, and how have they helped you sort of learn the ropes in a new role?
It's been amazing and it's been very good because the company has a lot of training programs that they put you on so you never feel left out or completely blank. And there's always trainings going on Boost and different platforms. They've got other sites as well that you could visit and learn parallel applications of what's happening there and how we can improve the product and the quality, ensuring that we meet the standards. And what I like the most is the investment that the company actually puts in ensuring that you're fully trained and that you align or the training aligns with your career progression. And I find that very beneficial. It's really a good company to work for.
Brilliant. Hi, Afsa. Thank you for joining us today. And Katie, because obviously you've progressed, now you manage a team of 25. How
Yep.
has, thanks, we talked a little bit about the training that you get, maybe learning the role, but what about that management development, and how have Saint-Gobain supported you through your career to become a manager?
So at the moment, I'm just about to start a level 5 apprenticeship in leadership and management, which is brilliant. I also have monthly coaching sessions, which is brilliant because you can work through different scenarios and also just general managerial skills, and you've just got that sort of safe environment where you can talk through potential challenges that you're having at any one time, and you've got that person there that you can trust. Also, my manager is great to be able to share things with, and across the plant as well. It's quite like a close-knit community, I suppose. So if you ever do need any help or someone to speak with, there's always someone there.
Brilliant.
So yeah, it's been good.
Good. And I mean, I guess as well, how has it been accepted? Because some, you do read some horror stories that some men, find it quite uncomfortable being managed by a woman. How does your team, how's it worked out? You managing
So I
it?
haven't, I haven't really had any issues with that. I think you always get one or two people that take a while to warm to a new manager, be that female or male. And I think it's just like, at the end of the day, you just have to be yourself, and you can't change who you are. And eventually, people usually come around and like warm to you, but it's about setting those boundaries as well. So if people do say things that you're not particularly like happy with or uncomfortable with, it's just addressing them straight away. And I guess it's like storming and norming, like when you're forming a new team and everyone has to just settle down into the new sort of way of working. But I've just found everyone like to be very supportive in the team. Obviously there's been like hard days, but there is in every job.
Yes, 100%. And did you have any apprehension? Because you're in a male-dominated team as well, Mwansa.
Well, yes and no. Like Kat is saying, sometimes there'll be a few that would try and stand over you, but it's about learning how to deal with different people and how to manage the team. And also sometimes it's just about putting your step forward and saying, no, I can't take this. And how do we work then together so that we effectively reach the goals or make sure that we are achieving what we're said to do. But I've
Yeah.
found generally that there's 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 a challenge.
Oh,
Oh.
never mind. Well, carry on. Hopefully she'll rejoin. Oh, it looks like she's
You take it
rejoining.
on, yeah,
Oh,
you take
you are.
on the challenges. You take on the challenge as a stepping stone. So I've found it as a way of sharpening my skills, such as self-control, and also how to manage differences, how to settle differences so that we still work together. And I've learned to take any challenge that comes with working in the male-dominated industry as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block, you know. And
Yeah.
I've also found generally that they're all supportive. And like she said, they'll take a few times to warm up to you, but eventually you get along and you get the work done.
Yeah. And how Saint-Gobain, I suppose, did you have any apprehensions before joining the team? And and if you did,
Um,
how did Saint-Gobain support that?
well, I should say that if I'm not the only processed female engineer on the site, so a little bit
Yeah.
uncomfortable in the beginning with the meetings, but eventually I did find my foot in the meetings, and how they helped me is um, give me some training on how to understand how to work with the team as well. And
Hmm.
I've also got a coaching session going on that has helped me understand my own leadership skills and my own values and how I can work with others in a team, ensuring that I'm not only focusing on myself, but also seeing and understanding what type of leadership skills the other parties might have, so that together we can work effectively and collaborate and work on projects. Yeah.
Brilliant. And Katie, you've got a couple of children. I think we spoke before.
Yeah.
And were you pregnant when you were working with Saint-Gobain?
Yeah, so with my second child, I was pregnant while I worked for Saint-Gobain. At the time, I was a process engineer
Hmm.
on the plasterboard line. But I mean, like, they were great. I got worked through risk assessment when I first became pregnant, and then you just sort of assess tasks that you can and can't do while you're pregnant, and
Yeah.
just ensure that there's obviously like flexibility there if you do get tired or you're not feeling particularly well. So yeah, they were very supportive, which was great. And also at the end of the pregnancy, that's when COVID was first announced, where it was like,
Okay, yeah.
if you're pregnant, you must work from home. So I was kind of sent home, I think, like the day after that announcement. So like the last sort of 5-6 weeks of the pregnancy was spent working from home. But prior to that, it was great. Yeah.
So then you obviously returned to work. I mean, what was that transition like on your return to work, and how did Saint-Gobain support?
So when I first started back, it was like a phased return, I guess. So I did 3 days a week to start with, and then gradually worked back up to the 5 days. I was also still like breastfeeding at the time as well. So you get like a nursing risk assessment, which is slightly different, obviously, to the pregnancy one, just making sure you're not around any like chemicals that you shouldn't be around. And just ensuring that you can get enough rest if you need to, like if you've been up in the night
Yeah.
feeding the baby, which was most nights at the time.
Yeah.
So that was that was really good just to feel like supported, and that like my managers understood that that actually would happen, because I was quite lucky in that my managers both have had like children,
Hmm.
so they know what it's like to be up at night with them and then having to come in to work the following day,
Yeah.
just to have a bit more understanding around that. So that was really good. And then throughout my pregnancy as well, not my pregnancy, sorry, my maternity leave, my manager kept in touch with me. Like if there was any updates, they'd let me know. So when I did come back, it wasn't a massive shock to the
Yeah.
system. I kind of knew like who had left, who had started, who had moved around, how the office was arranged, things like that. So
That is important because
it is
I
like,
remember coming back and I was like, who are these
yeah,
people?
like someone had like moved desks and another person had left, someone else was new. It's things like that that you do get really anxious about in
Hmm.
your days before coming back after having like a
Mhm.
baby. So that was really great.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And Mwansa, could you tell me how Saint-Gobain approaches work-life balance and how, this has affected your experience working for them?
I found them very supportive when it comes to taking breaks, like you said, because originally from Zambia. And as I'm speaking to you right now, I'm actually in Zambia at the minute.
Nice.
So I found them to be very supportive in that they're flexible and understanding that besides work, there's life that must go on. And if we didn't have this life, then it would be very hard to balance how effective we are with performing our tasks. So I
Mm,
traveled back recently to care for my dad who's been sickly, and they were very understanding and they allowed me time to take off work and
mhm,
ensure that I come back and be with my family through this ordeal. But also, while I'm back in Ireland, my direct manager has always been asking me if my workload is too much, if there's anything that I need to share with the team, And at times, I like to hug work. I like to take on work, and I don't know how to say no. But they've
yeah,
helped me in understanding how much I should balance my work with what's going on, and if there's too much, they've always told me how they can help, and there's always help available. So you're never drained or you're never too much loaded with a lot of work that it affects your productivity. Um, and then I also like that.
She's back.
Uh, Again, my poor
That's all right.
connection. Yeah,
I
so
don't have
once
any
in a
else,
while
but
we'll have like a team meeting away from.
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
so we have a team meeting or team build up that's away from the work. Yeah, away from the work that just allows us to see how we can actually work together. Are there any problems that you're facing away from work? And if you're open enough to talk to the team, they'll be able to help you. So I find that flexibility and support to be very effective in working with the team. Yeah.
Brilliant. And actually, is it quite an open, because, for example, my daughter had an assembly the other week, and my husband, I don't think he'll work. His work will be watching this, so I can probably speak quite openly. But he wanted to go, but felt he couldn't tell his employer because it would be frowned upon. Even though he would have only, he was working for him that day, he'd have only been out like 45 minutes, so he had to lie and say he had a doctor's appointment. And it's
Yeah.
things like that. And I think that is just, it's sort of encouraging people to sneak around. It's like that, parent-child relationship. So, for example, if you had something you want, whether it was something, a sports day or an appointment that you wanted to attend for you, do you feel you could be quite open with your manager that you were popping, off the desk to go to the gym, to go to the sports, wherever, or is it something people, still hide?
Very, very open with mine, I'd say, because I remember, I think sometime last year, I had a graduation at Galway when I was completing my master's in energy systems engineering. And I was thinking on how to approach my boss and tell them that I had a graduation. And I was thinking, well, what comes first, job or graduation? And I was thinking, okay, I'm just going to lie and say I'm sick, you know?
Yeah, it's
And
that. Yeah.
and then I thought, if I do that and then I have to post something on LinkedIn or Facebook, it's going to show that, oh, yeah, you actually went for a graduation, you're in sick. So I just said,
Yeah.
okay, let me own up. Yeah. So I said, I've actually got a graduation coming up and I'd like to attend it. And my boss said, why don't you take a day off so that you can actually prepare for it? And I found it like very, very supportive. And in that sense, you can always go back and freely say when there's something that needs to come before that. And that said too, there's it's not that like work is left hanging then, but there's always like, okay, do you have to hand over something to someone that's urgent? So there's always that support. Yeah, so there's a balance in getting the work done and also in getting your own personal things done.
Brilliant. And I don't know if you got anything you want to share.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, in a couple of weeks' time, I've got my daughter's sports day coming up, which obviously is a big thing that I'm there to watch. And my manager's like, yeah, it's fine. You can go along, just like work from home before and then come in afterwards. Because I guess with my job, it's quite there can be flexibility, just because some nights you might have to work like later if you've got a trial or if you have a breakdown, and you sort of can like accrue hours and then take them back in lieu. But even if it's last minute as well, like my daughter twisted her ankle in a ball pit the other day, and I had to take her to A&E. And I was like, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to be late because my daughter's twisted her ankle.
Don't
You
know how
don't
late.
expect it. No, that's the thing. I don't know how late, but this is happening. And they were like, okay. So that's great.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And then we've had a question as well from a lady that is due to return to work, I think, from maternity. Oh, or she's maybe been given a promotion. So she has asked that she wonders, do you think you have to work full time in order to be successful? I mean, not necessarily at Saint-Gobain, I guess this is anywhere, particularly as a woman who works in a male-dominated industry where it tends to be women getting calls from nursery, you know, child is sick or whatever.
Yeah, so I'd say, like, for me, I've chosen to work 5 days a week. But within Saint-Gobain, there's lots of women and men that do work like 3 or 4 days a week, and they've still done really well with their careers. Also, like my husband, he works 4 days a week, and he has a lot of flexibility with his career, and he's equally done really well as well. So I don't think you have to work the 5 days a week. In terms of getting calls from nursery and school, I seem to be like number one on the list. I'm not sure why, but even if I can't like pick up, my husband will then like go and pick up my daughter or my son. So we sort of like share the load, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. That's a really good point, actually. It's about also, you know, it's not all, I guess, about the work. It's about making sure you've got that partnership set up at home as well, and that you're both sharing the loads. That is a brilliant point. Thank you so much, Katie. And I know that, Katie, we're going to talk about your vlogs in a minute, but I guess there's, you know, in certain organisations, they have things, you know, extracurricular stuff, if you like. So obviously you do your vlogs. Is there any other sort of activities that Saint-Gobain offer that is outside of, you know, your day-to-day or societies, etc., that you can join? Or how do they foster that, you know, inclusivity outside of day job?
That's a tough one. I'd say like at E-Sleek, we do like an annual cycle ride, which is like with there's another plant down the road at Barrow, and we do a cycle ride from Barrow to Skegness like each year, and quite a lot of people get involved in that. It's like 100 miles. So there's quite a big like cycling scene, and sometimes people go jogging like at lunchtime together and things. And then also we have like an MPD stage and gate process, you know, for like new product development and things. And at the end of those, we always get like reward and recognition events. So we've got one coming up where we can go out like for dinner, and then, you know, like have a few drinks afterwards. So that's quite nice that they do reward like hard work as well.
Brilliant. And anything at your place of work, Mans? Because I think you were at a different site to Katie.
Yeah. I think spot on. I'll think of the QPC away date, which would be normally like for the department. So normally would have one every quarter, and it's just where we get to go away from the site somewhere, and then enjoy either a meal together, probably a full day actually, together, spa and anything if you want. And then other than that, we also have something that the HR would normally arrange, which would be like a competition for walking steps. I did participate in that last year. So they kind of get you to work in groups and then clock in your steps. So you can either go for a lunch break walk together and see how many steps you get clocked in during your lunch break.
That challenge.
Yeah.
My
Very
sister's doing one of
interesting.
those. I was doing them last week with her, and she's like, someone's like, I don't know, someone on the team was doing like 20,000 a day. And she's like, how is he doing that?
Yeah, exactly. I used to wonder as well, but you never see it during that month. You'll be walking around the site and everyone will be wondering, why are you walking? No, I'm busy working, but just counting the steps, you know. And then we also have gym membership open for outside work. So you can, it's always discounted. So you can avail yourself of such activities, and there would normally be colleagues within the gym as well. So you get to have a chance to talk and break away from work. So those are some of the activities. Yeah.
Great. And Katie, obviously you make the vlogs. Do you want to tell us, was that something you volunteered to do? You always itched to be a video producer? How did that come
Yeah.
about? And what do you do in your vlogs?
I've always been into, like, I guess, amateur dramatics and like vlogging, and the Saint-Gobain recently have created a women's like network, and we were just thinking of ways to portray what it was like to work in a factory environment as a woman, and just also to show like the variety of tasks that you can do as like a process engineer or performance manager. So I'm trying to create them to be quite natural, not too planned, and to try and bring in different people from across the factory. So, someone from engineering or from logistics or from technical, just to showcase like everything that actually happens in the factories. And also for Saint-Gobain in general, just to try and to show, like, on our Instagram channels or LinkedIn, that there is a variety of roles and a variety of things that you can do within Saint-Gobain. Like, if people haven't heard of Saint-Gobain before, it's sort of to demonstrate what we do and to show what we do in quite a sort of natural style.
Brilliant. And they're on your
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah, so they're on my LinkedIn. We also have the Instagram channel as well that they're on.
Brilliant. So if somebody's curious about Saint-Gobain, they
Yeah.
can go there. Where else can let people, if they've watched this and think, yeah, it sounds a really nice place to work, where else can they find more information about your organisation and the types of roles that are available?
So we have the Saint-Gobain careers page. So I guess if they Google Saint-Gobain careers, it would send you a link, like give you a link that you can go to, and you can like choose your continent, your country, the type of role that you're interested in, and then it will just bring up all the open vacancies at that time. And there is a lot to choose from.
Absolutely. And obviously they offer brilliant training. So I guess if there's something that maybe you don't feel you've got quite the skills, but it's still definitely worth applying. I always say that to people anyway, because you never know what's down in the pipeline that they may have. And like, testament to you two, they've really invested in your training and development. And, I'm sure you'd love to hear from people.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. And if anyone has any questions, particularly for either of you individually, how can people connect with you and contact you, and if they have any individual questions?
So my LinkedIn profile is quite open, so you can follow me and send me a message if you would like to. That's fine.
Brilliant. All right. And do people all right to connect with you? Ones are on LinkedIn and send you a message if they have any questions.
Yeah, that's same. Mine is also open, so it's Mwansa Mibenge, and you can ask. I'll be ready to answer and chat.
Brilliant. Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me today. Thank you so much to everyone that's watched. Chickasaura said it's an amazing conversation, so I hope that people have enjoyed watching. If you have any questions now on the replay, please pop them in the comments, and we do go back and read the questions. And if you've missed any of today's conversation, all conversations are recorded and put on the Investing in Women website, so you can go back and watch at any time. Thank you so much again, Katie and Mwansa, for joining me today, and thank you for everyone that has watched.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.